What I would like you to do now is to really bring your hands together and open your throats and acknowledge, as he comes up to accept the honour, Garth Porter.
This is pretty freaky and very humbling. Just watching back on those old videos is just wow. I think I had to laugh. I was talking with the guys out of Sherbet earlier today about, with Daryl actually, at the studio. We've been recording all day today, and Daryl came in to do a guest vocal. And we were trying to remember how it was that Roger talked us into getting all of our clothes off and getting those photographs taken naked. My only defence is that it takes an incredible amount of courage for a straight guy to lie in a pile of naked guys. I don't know. We somehow got through all of those things. The overwhelming thought that I sort of had, because having been told that I was going to be presented with this award, and kind of go back, and there's a lot of years now in my music career, and the things, I suppose, just briefly, growing up in Hamilton and hearing this magnificent music on the radio in the early 60s, even the late 50s, and then the huge English invasion, the Stones, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, the Small Faces, the Kinks, the Who. If it wasn't anything that was going to set your aspirations on fire, then nothing would if that didn't. And it was just so fast, it just went from, I Want to Hold Your Hand to Revolution #9 in like just a matter of years. It was, in some ways you might think that would have taken 20 years to achieve, but it didn't. It happened really fast. And one of the bands that I loved in those days, and this is the reason actually I came to Australia, was Procol Harum and A Whiter Shade of Pale, and that was the first time I really heard a Hammond organ. Having played in bands in New Zealand, starting on guitar, then bass, and shifting to keyboards as we would find a need for different instruments, I'd just take them on. And in New Zealand you couldn't buy a Hammond organ unless you had overseas funds or you were a church. So, and I heard that in Australia you could just walk into a shop and buy one. And I said, I'm going to Australia. And of course I'd had plenty of nourishment from the Easy Beats in particular, and had a great fondness of the idea of going to Australia. And at that point I'd always wanted to write songs. I remember going to night school in town. I used to have dinner at my grandparents' place, and as I was walking along, the rhythm would be in my feet, and I wasn't singing songs that I knew. I was making songs up in my head. Of course, there was nothing to record them on, and they're all been and forgotten by the time I'd sat through bloody accounting. I was doing accounting. I hated it. It just was wrong for me. Anyway, I came to Australia. I walked into Parlings in Western Australia, and for some reason they trusted me. I got one on hire purchase. I'd only just arrived, and finally made my way to Sydney. And I suppose probably the most important door knock in my life, certainly to that point, was Clive Shakespeare in this hovel that I was living with. And he knocked on the door and he said, we heard you played organ, would you be interested in auditioning for the band? And strangely, I'd seen the band performing at Jonathan's a couple of weeks earlier and was mightily impressed. And Daryl had his school uniform on, his school suit, I think. Was that right, Daryl? Did you ever turn up in your school suit and anything? You were ahead of your time. Chrissy Amphlett was influenced by you. And joined Sherbet. And at that time, as Glenn quite correctly said, we were a covers band. And slowly and surely we were adding new songs. And sadly, Clive's not here. I owe an incredible debt of gratitude to so many people in my work. And I'm not going to keep you, I know it's late, so I'm going to try and be as quick as I can. Clive was an outstanding ideas person. It was kind of, Sherbet was his concept, his band, and he was a great songwriter. I was always jealous of Clive's songwriting, and I felt like he just seemed to do it easy, and I had to work my butt off, you know. He taught me so much. And one thing about being a songwriter is you're almost nothing without a great performer or a great band and a great singer. In Sherbet, all of those things applied. Daryl was just an extraordinary singer. We were in the studio today recording, and he hasn't lost anything. Tony, great bass player. Alan, a great drummer. And as I mentioned, Clive was a great ideas man and a great creator of music and ideas. And then following on after, you know, difficult times, Harvey James joined the band, and sadly we've lost him as well in the last few years. After the band split up, and I hope I don't leave anybody out, oh Jesus, I had a deal with Rondor, and I met this young man over here, Rhys Kirk, who's been mentioned already today. Half the things I was going to say have already been said. Can you make it shorter? There won't be a next time, will there? But Rhys, thank you. Rhys connected me with country music, and from that to my next big event in my life, which is Lee Kernaghan. And again, I met a man who has got incredible talent, instincts, insights, ideas, ambitions. He's tireless. He's a remarkable man. And again, there's the voice, there's the vehicle for the songs. I suppose not just the vehicle, the inspiration. I think that, because I write so many damn songs, they just keep on coming, and it's because of the way I get inspired by the people that I'm working with. And it's become so important to me as a producer as well, that everything I do everything that I can to make their career a success. And on my travels with Lee came another very important man in my songwriting and musical career, and that's Colin Buchanan. Again, I am so jealous of the way he can write lyrics. You know, we're sort of, Lee and Bucko and I'll be somewhere or other writing songs, and I'll be going, my brain's not working, I can't do this is too hard, I forgot how you do it, I can't do it. And Bucko will sort of wander around the room for a while, and then he'll say, well, this is what I've got. And it's like, what? It's just astonishing talent, just incredible. I'd also like to acknowledge Peter Patterson, my publisher, who's been doing some wonderful things with the catalogue that he's got. He's going to get the big bit of it when I wrench it off the current owners, who should really not have ever had it. But Pete's been great. Pete's got the Sherbet catalogue, and I haven't mentioned names. And he's been getting Sherbet songs into movies and television shows and so on, and doing all that sort of thing for me. And it's great to have his enthusiasm, including delivering amplifiers to get fixed like he was doing for me today from the studio. Ted Howard has been my engineer and sort of recording compadre for 25 years now, I think. An incredible part of the whole process is your whole team. I don't do anything all me. It's everything is teamwork, and Ted is certainly an incredibly inspiring engineer. I'd like to thank Denny and Claire and ASA for this incredible honour. Yeah, I think it's just amazing what they do. And last but not least, I would like to thank my loving family. And that they must love me, because our dining room hasn't been a dining room for about 4 years. It's 40 years. There's guitars leaning all over the dining room, there's keyboards, there's leads, there's mics, there's computers, there's papers piled high, and I don't know, they love me, I guess, they put up with it. It's, my wife's over it, but soon we'll get another room and I'll move into that. And thank you, family. And thank you all. This is just such an honour for your warmth and enthusiasm. Thank you very much.
Now, Garth, first of all, an admission, the Creative Centrefold did come to my archives. You can actually hit me now if you want. No, well, I haven't, but then again, I have everything. Now, if there is any room left on any shelf in your house, then please let this have some position of prominence. And what I would like to do is to ask Lee Kernaghan to come up on stage and to say a few words about his mate, his partner, his mentor.
First of all, can I just acknowledge Glen A Baker and the wonderful words he said about Garth today. Unbelievable. And GP, I see you as kind of like the Moses of country music, because you brought my generation of country singers to the promised land. You truly did. You changed the shape of country music forever, and I can tell you, mate, that Henry Lawson would be proud of you. Love you.
Now, Garth, you don't get to actually keep this and take it home, but you do get to focus your gaze upon it and feel proud of having your name engraved on one of the guitars on this.
That's something that I was going to acknowledge, and I missed it in my scrawl, and that's the privilege to be listed with so many incredible other musicians and songwriters. It's wow. Yeah.
What I may do, this isn't quite the way I planned it. It seems to be flowing nicely. I might actually ask Daryl, if you'd like to come up now, while we're all standing here, and to say a few words as well about his old comrade. Old, contemporary, eternal comrade.
I'll be quick. I didn't have anything planned. Glenn, thank you. But no, on behalf of all of us that are here tonight, and especially Tony and Alan and myself, it was a great time back in the Sherbet days, and as Garth was commenting before, you needed all the right things in the right place at the right time, and we had it there for 13 years, and it was extraordinary, and the songs really did make it. And the only thing that I'm still trying to figure out is how you transferred from pop music to country music. And
I was born on a farm, Daryl. That's actually the truth. My dad was a farmer, a dairy farmer, and I was raised on a farm.
See, Tony? No, but it's an extraordinary time, and congratulations on tonight on behalf of all of us here. Thank you.
I say again, before we move into some rather amazing musical performances, how can so much music be in one man? And it is, again, Garth Porter. This has been a pretty special induction, and I've I've done a lot of them, but this is a special moment.